we have been living under the same system, under the rule of the Ba'ath Party since 1963. The Ba'ath Party came as a result of a coup d'etat. They like to call it a revolution, but it was really a coup d'etat. Few army officers mounted a coup. They went on tanks, occupied government buildings, the state TV, whatever, and announced a new government. Ever since that time, the star of one of these generals who led the coup, his name is Hafez Assad, began to rise. And in 1967, he became a Secretary of Defense. That is when the Golan War broke out, and we lost the Golan. But instead of retiring in shame, he actually mounted a coup d'etat 3 years later, and he became the president. He blamed everybody else for the loss of the Golan. And he made himself a leader, introduced a new constitution in 1973, and he introduced his family members, like his brother, into sort of the security apparatuses, and many members of his family and entourage from his own small family and then his own small sect. Hafez al-Assad comes from a sect called the Alawite, which is represent around 8 to 10% of the Syrian people. And he basically began relying a lot on that group to populate the security apparatuses, the army, in order to gain their loyalty and rely on their loyalty vis-a-vis the other political parties and the other groups in Syria. So we really moved towards a system not only of oppression, but of extreme sectarianism. And that had a backlash in the 1970s. Some Sunni groups who are, especially religious, and then became very fanatical, also launched a wave of terror against the regime. And there was a civil war in 1982 that led to the destruction of the city of Hama, where Assad ordered his troops basically to open fire randomly and bombard the city. Leading to some people say 10,000, others say 40,000 people dead. We really don't have accurate numbers, but we know that after that period, around 200,000 people went into exile from Syria and really established a major opposition forces outside the country. In 2000, after Hafez al-Assad died, we think of leukemia. His son came to power. He had, done his best to smooth the way and pave the way for his son, to Bashar al-Assad, to actually become the leader, who once again in a sham referendum was announced as the new president. He promised reforms, so some people had some hopes that he would introduce some reforms, but he months down after he became president, he cracked down on all the literary salons or the political forces that emerged and tried to sort of initiate a message of reform and for the country. And so, in other words, he turned his back against his promises immediately after, occupying office. And so for us, it became a joke when we ever heard an international leader or whatever speak to Bashar as a reformer, because we knew he's not. Finally, and after 10 years of patience and waiting, the Syrian people have decided to take matters into their own hands and have mounted the revolution. And one of the cities that have become important and central in this revolution is Hama, the city that was destroyed in 1982.